Welcome to Beyond the Mark, the podcast where we uncover stories, strategies, and moments that shape remarkable brands and the people behind them. I'm your host, Joe Toma. Today's episode is a great one. My guest is Tony Konja, the founder and CEO of Artistic Outdoor Services, a powerhouse in the world of commercial landscaping. Tony started with nothing more than a truck and a wheelbarrow, and his company manages hospitals, shopping centers, and signature public spaces across Michigan. He's known for chasing down big deals, delivering top-tier service, and putting his logo and his legacy everywhere from flower beds to golf outings. And in this episode, Tony shares how he built his business, what nearly broke it, and why he fired a $150,000 client in the name of peace and purpose. If you're a business owner, a builder, or someone trying to leave your mark, this episode is packed with hard-won wisdom you don't want to miss. Let's get into it. Tony, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome, Joe. Thanks for having me on today. I look forward to it.
Definitely. I like to first start by saying, what do you do exactly in your own words, and why do you do it?
Okay, great. I basically started the business just early on in college, just kind of right in college. Either I was going to, go to college and be a auto body designer designing cars, or it's like one summer I picked up a truck and a wheelbarrow and started doing landscaping. What I learned was I love being outdoors. I love creating things. Being a landscape designer, installer, it's like about creating things and basically helping people build their brand by me taking care of their property. So initially I knew that I didn't want to work in the grocery business like my dad had back in the day. And through high school, I worked in the grocery business and I felt, no, this is just not for me. And then I went to college, like I say, trying to design cars, and then ended up working one summer working outdoors. And I thought, wow, this is what I really love. That's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Very cool. So you kind of told us how you started, and what pulled you in? What was the thing that you enjoyed about it so much that you wanted to keep doing it?
I think it was kind of about more of, being outdoors and just not being at the same place every day, going to a desk job. I think people, either you love it or you don't. Either you're a butterfly and you're flying around town like I do. I mean, I might visit, 10 job sites in a day. Of course, in the beginning, I'm doing the physical work myself. I'm out there. I'm the guy cutting the grass, installing the flowers, the shrubs, the mulch. I'm the guy doing all the work. But as you over time, you want to build your company. The goal is to build your company and do multiple, increase your sales. And with that, you gotta hire people. In the beginning, you do all the work yourself. I think with a lot of entrepreneurs, in the beginning, they do all the work themselves. And then as they start getting more clientele, there's that happy balance. Get more clients, get employees. Get more clients, get more employees. I really enjoyed the entrepreneurship part of it. So I knew at that time I didn't want to work for General Motors. I didn't want to do a desk job. I love being outdoors, and I like negotiating. I like chasing the client. And when I find an opportunity to meet someone and I want to get that business, I'm relentless on that. I'll go after that client and just negotiate, and just, there's that, you want to land the contract like anybody. Their follow-up is key. So I enjoy the business for multiple reasons. Being outdoor, being in many places at one time, the art of the deal or the chasing the deal down. So there's multiple reasons why I enjoy what I do.
So you're talking about closing deals, how you fund. Tell me about the first deal that you closed and what that was like.
I would say probably back in the day, it did start off in this business, and this is to any young entrepreneur trying to get into the landscape business, because I do mentor some younger guys that are getting in the business. That, of course, in the beginning, you have to start with residential homes. Everyone knows that. Now today, I'm doing commercial hospitals, big shopping malls. I'm doing hotels, bigger properties, let's say apartment complexes, condominium sites. That's today. That's 10, 15 years in the business. In the beginning, you start off with picking up residential homes. You're knocking on that door and you're trying to, does that sound good? Knocking on that door, trying to basically pick up the homeowner that, needs their grass cut. And that's how it all started, with residential. And then I had a mentor in my life that said to me, you really got to get out of the rental business. You want to get into some big revenue, some big contracts with more money and, bigger profits. You got to get into commercial. And that person helped me, land my first shopping center. And once I landed that first shopping center, you're going from cutting someone's house for $20 a cut to like $100, $200. And then from one shopping center, you go into the larger properties later on as time goes on, and you're starting to see, bigger contracts. So initially when I started, like I always say, this is a funny thing I say, I started with one truck and one wheelbarrow. Now it's 25 trucks and 25 wheelbarrows. We grow the company. But it's always, my philosophy also is baby steps in business. I've never wanted to grow too fast and just, out of control. Then you can't service the client, of course, right? So I've always had that philosophy of baby steps in business.
So that first shopping center that you got, what was it like winning that negotiate? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember it. Actually, I know it's Redford Plaza on Telegraph Road in like West Chicago somewhere. And it's like, oh, wow, this is a huge property. I'm going to be cutting the grass here. This is great. Through an introduction through a friend, of course, referring me in one of my mentors in life. And he introduced me to the person and said, yeah, give Tony a shot at it. And no problem. I'm happy to give you a shot based on a recommendation. That's how it always happens. Referrals, right? We all know this in life. It's important to get referred by a friend or another contractor that's in a different type of service. So yeah, they gave me a shot at it, and probably had that contract for like 5 or 7 years before they sold the property. And then that happens in our business. A property gets sold, a new owner comes in, he's got a relationship with another landscape contractor. So sometimes you do lose the work, Then that's why we always gotta be chasing. We're always chasing new work because properties get sold a lot in this industry. So you might lose a contract. There's been many times I've kept the contract too and gained a new customer, which I like. So yeah, that's the philosophy of kind of like, where do you start and how do you...
There's a woman I know who wakes up every day with one mission: help people who don't know how to escape. She's the president of Sparrow Freedom Project, and she lives and breathes this work. I've heard the stories of survival, pain, unimaginable strength. They'll break your heart and stay with you for weeks. This is not just an organization, it's a lifeline. Sparrow Freedom Project fights human trafficking and supports survivors right here in our community. They need our help. If you're listening and wondering what you can do, it's simple. Make a donation today. Donate now at sparrowfreedomproject.org/donate. It matters. She's given up so much to help others. Let's give something back.
You take it.
Victory, what'd you do afterwards when you landed that deal?
I went to work. You got to get to work. I got to get the guys in place and get things scheduled and get organized. So yeah, I enjoyed the journey of that, taken to where I'm at today. And it's really hard work. People understand it's like, you got to go after it.
Mm.
We're always chasing deals, right? We're always chasing deals. We're trying to get the next deal. We're trying to meet the new client. We're trying to get new opportunities, and, it comes over time. You do that, but you got to start somewhere.
What's been the most satisfying part about the journey building this business over the years?
I'd say the most satisfying part of it is learning that you can do it, because it's not easy to learn to how to grow your company and balance everything. How do I make sure everything's working properly within the company, the managers, the office staff, your people that work in the office compared to your people that work in the field. For me, it's two different things. I'm kind of managing all the people in the field along with help. Of course, I have managers that help me with that. Then also too, making sure the office is going well. Make sure the billings are getting sent out, the invoicing is getting sent out. The secretary is typing up all the proposals and make sure you're renewing proposals, and is everyone getting their proper insurances? There is that happy balance, and that's what a CEO does. A CEO is in charge of everything, making sure it's going good on both ends. Just like if you're taking an order from a customer, making sure that the T-shirts are getting printed at the proper time and the quality is good. It's all about quality. So that's what a CEO does. A CEO is in charge of all the necessary things between office and field. For me, it's office and field. And I've actually been complimented before, like, wow, your office staff is so great. They're great on billings, invoicing, receivables, payables. I've heard that many times, because they always say that the front office has got to work, because you can't run a company if your office is not paying the bills. They're not invoicing properly, right? So we're very efficient that way, I'm happy to say.
What do you attribute that to? Why is your team so good in the office?
Well, obviously my wife runs the office, Madeline. So that's a key. It's a key thing. She's really good at that, just very knowledgeable, University of Michigan accounting and finance. So I got lucky there. She's great. Wow. And she's a hard worker, works harder than me, I think. So I got to thank her for that. And she's just good at it. She's on the ball and works hard, and she's smart. I love that. And that she knows how to get things done. And then my secretary, Rita, she's great too with staying on proposals, staying on, designs. We'll do like a landscape design for a property. She's great at that too. So she helps me with that. So you have to thank your team members, of course. You can't all do it yourself. We all know that. So it's like your people in the office, your people in the field. I think my managers that helped me with that, my manager, Al and Desmond, and these guys that help me in the field, because if all relies on me, I can't get it done.
And this could have been when you were in the residential part of your business, but when did you look at your business and say, this is a real business now, or like this is where I want to go. This is where I made it kind of. Did you have like a make it moment?
Yeah, definitely. I would say when I probably landed my first hospital contract, when I landed Providence Hospital in Novi. It might have been 10 years in the business, and I'm getting out of the residential market. I can't remember the timeline of that. I might have did residential for 5 or 7 years. Then I sold off all residential, started getting commercial. So I picked up a few shopping centers, maybe gas stations. But when I landed Providence Hospital in Novi, and knock on wood, I still have it today.
Wow.
23 years later, I still have the hospital contract. So that tells you something. I'm good at what we do, right? So I think that was the big moment. And literally the facility people came to my warehouse and had to look at all my trucks and my equipment to see if we can handle this hospital. It's a big deal. They want to check you out. You just can't show up to a property and give a proposal. Like, here's my numbers. They literally got to come check you out. They want to see if you have the proper trucks and equipment and the proper team to get it done. And when they came out to my warehouse and looked at it, they're like, okay, this guy's legit. He's got, at that time, I remember I actually had 10 trucks. So we were in the middle from 1 to 25. We were at 10.
Wow.
And we were able to land that contract and slowly and do a great job. Obviously, that first year, and 22 years later, we're still doing a great job. So you always remember your first big one. You'll probably remember that too, Joe. Your first big T-shirt contract or shirt or embroidery, right? You always remember your first.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was exciting to say, and it's cool that I can say that I still have it today.
Yeah, I can tell, like, when you say that, like...
Enthusiasm?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like the excitement. I saw that little glimmer in your eye.
Yeah, a little sparkle.
Yeah. On the opposite side of that, like, what was the hardest hit that you took to the business?
The economy plays a big role in, any kind of service industry business. And I remember when the mortgage industry hit, people weren't spending as much. People are losing their homes and they're losing, the economy's tough. We're going through that mortgage transition thing. And was that 2008 or something? I can't remember what year that was. So I think it was 2007, 8. And at that time, even commercial property owners are having a hard time with their tenants because their tenants, business is down. So then, they're trying to cut back on expenses. They don't want to put flowers in. They don't want to put mulch in there. These are upgrades to properties where we will install new trees and shrubs, right? Like, nope, can't do that this year. So it's like that time, whatever that time was, a 2-3 year period, it was tough because people spent expenses were down. They weren't spending. It's like them ordering more T-shirts and hoodies for you. I'm just kind of relating in a way, like they want all the goodies. They want everything embroidered, but sometimes we're just going to go with the basic right now. So at that time, sales were down. That makes it difficult for us to, be able to do all the things we want to do, buy new trucks, buy new equipment. I think that's hard for us, but we made it through, and we were able to sustain and keep going, through the tough times. And then you're just trying to figure out, how do I get to the next level? And the way to do that is, of course, increase sales. Everyone says that. It's always about the sales. If you hear any podcast, any salesperson, any business coach talk about, it's always about the sales. So I'm excited to say that sales are up.
Okay.
Yeah, sales are up.
Nice to hear.
Yeah.
How about a project that flopped so bad that you were questioning everything? You ever have those moments?
Yes. in this industry of service, there's times where in the beginning when we were still learning, I'll give you two scenarios. One was a winter scenario where I didn't know how to do my scheduling and my routing with all the trucks and equipment. And let's say we're servicing, 25 properties for their snow plowing. I would literally was booking my trucks like 13 hours, over scheduling my guys, overworking my guys, overworking all of us, the trucks and equipment. We were working like 13-hour shifts, which is way too long. Now we want to be done in 8 to 10. If you overwork, what's happening with that is if you overwork your guys and you're putting too much work on one team member, what happens is they're giving bad service to the customer. Not only are you overworking the employee, you're giving bad service to the customer because let's say we're trying to get 5 properties done tonight. That last property you're trying to get to in the snow plowing industry, you've got there at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Now they're open for business at 9 and you're just showing up to plow their parking lot. That's not a good thing. They're like, hey, we're open for business. Why is my parking lot done? It's because the owner overscheduled and overworked his guys. That's like, I'm trying to get more revenue done, but it's not about the revenue. You can say, oh, I wanted this truck to produce $1,000 a night. No, it's okay if you only produce 800 because you can get it done in 8 hours instead of 10 hours or 12 hours. So I think that's a big thing I learned over the years. Don't overwork your employees. Now we have a system where 45 hours a week, we're 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, 10, 11 hours a day, 4 days a week, we're done. We're done with our work in 4 days. We don't even work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all the employees love it. They have every Friday off all summer long. So it's the nicest thing. I'm able to recruit employees because of that. Because in the industry, people know to work a lot in landscape. I see a lot of companies out there working them 60 hours a week, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. That's just too much. We have to give the employees time to reset, and it's hard work outside. We're working in the heat. So I think I've learned over the years not to overschedule, not to overwork the team members. And it's not about trying to get more revenue. The bottom line is not the revenue. It's about the quality of work. And that's the thing too. If we're overworking them, we're probably doing shoddy work.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because you said sales, it's like all about sales and growing. But I think a big part can also be attributed to your attention to not just your staff and their comfort and wanting to come back and show up. And I'm sure it helps with turnover.
Sure.
Yeah. But the service that they're going to output for your client to see, the results that your company is going to have. I mean, I think as just as much as growing your company with sales, growing your company with service is hand in hand.
It's not always about the total sales they're going to produce. And I remember having a meeting one year going into the wintertime with one of my managers, and I said, listen, we're not going to add more accounts on this year. I'm happy to have the same exact accounts as last year. I want to do a better job. And even though I think I purchased more trucks, but with the more trucks, I want to do more. I want to do less work per truck by adding on more trucks. It allowed to, fan out the work we had with the same amount of contracts, but more vehicles, let's say. So that means everyone's working 8 hours now instead of 10. So even though I'm buying more equipment, I'm not trying to add more sales on, if that makes sense. Maybe people in the industry will understand that.
Yeah.
That kind of goes with anything. You can only put your person out there to do so much,
It's just like us. Maybe we get more equipment, but maybe it's to turn it out faster, do it better.
True. Exactly.
Be more efficient.
Yes, exactly. Be more efficient. That's a key thing. So I think I learned that over time. It was always about run, work it hard, work as many hours as you can in a day. So we worked crazy hours. We'd work in the beginning dusk till dawn. We'd work till 9 o'clock at night. Now everyone's off at 5:30.
Wow, beautiful.
Yes, and we understand they have a life, they have a family, they got to rest, they got to take a break. So I think that's part of efficiencies in business that you learn over time. In the beginning, you don't know anything. I didn't go to school for this. I just kind of learned from my dad owning a grocery store, running a business, but they would work 12 hours a day, and I didn't want to do that. I knew I didn't want to do that.
If you could design your perfect project, what's your favorite thing that you could, do? If somebody called you and said, such and I want this.
Okay.
And it was the best thing that you ever heard. What would that sound like?
Okay, that's a cool question. I don't know if I didn't say this earlier. We didn't mention it. I think you might have said it. The company name is Artistic Outdoor Services.
Yeah.
So we are a design, build, maintain firm. We're going to design your landscape. we're going to build it, install it, and then we're going to maintain it. So I like that part of it. I love seeing a project through. A perfect example is we did a butterfly garden for the city of Southfield last year. It's right along Northwestern Highway by like Evergreen or Civic Center. And it's really a cool project where we didn't design that one, so I can't take credit for that. It was a landscape architect that designed it, but we installed it and we're maintaining it. And it's just beautiful. Flowers are blooming throughout the year. Butterflies are flying in the garden. It's a monarch butterfly. There's a huge statue that's 20 foot tall of a monarch butterfly. So it's really cool to see the statue, then all the landscaping surrounding it is a butterfly garden with stepping stones and you walk through it. So we installed it and we maintain it. But there's other projects that I've seen. Even we do, who knows? I'd say I've done some residential, high-end residential. We're not a residential company, but we completed a house in Bloomfield Hills last year that I designed it. And what I do is I have a nickname called Landscape God. So I come up with the idea, I design it, and I install it, and I maintain it. So it's kind of fun to say that you come up with that idea. And the name artistic is very creative, right? So I feel like I have the knack of, even though I didn't go to design school, I just can see things that other people can't see. And when it comes through and I put it on paper, I can design it, I can install it, and I can maintain it. So there's been multiple projects that I'm excited about.
So if somebody called you and said, unlimited budget, do you know what that would look like, or would it, or? It
actually just happened. I was kind of shocked. I met with the subdivision association recently in West Bloomfield, and they said, we have a $100,000 budget. I'm like, wow, that's a good budget. Thank you for that. So I initially designed the center island a couple of years ago. We installed it. Everything went great. That was $100,000. And now they said, we want you to landscape both right and left side, and I'm going to design it. I'm going to install it, and I'm going to maintain it. So that's kind of cool when people say that. I have a $100,000 budget right up front. That's great. And we want to work with you. That's the best part. The last process we did with you, which was the center island of the subdivision entrance, it went great. We loved it. Your communication's great. Your follow-up's good. So, of course, they're not even getting other bids. I love when I hear that. And I have a lot of clients like that saying, we're not shopping you. We're just going to stick with you because you do a good job. You mean what you say what you mean. That's a big thing in any business world. You mean what you say and you say what you mean. So I do. I'm that person. I'm going to give it to them straight. And even if we have to negotiate a price, I have to say what I say, but I'm going to follow through. It's important.
Yeah, I want to check these out. So if people wanted to look at some of the beautiful work that you've done, You're saying the one in Southfield, the monarch butterfly.
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's on LinkedIn. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. It's on all my socials. Artistic Outdoor Services. Tony Konja. If you Google either one of those.
No, if I want to go drive there, I want to get the feel for the whole.
Oh yeah, that's on Northwestern Highway, right there by Civic Center Drive.
Okay.
And you'll see a place right across the street called Red Pole Park.
Yeah.
Right Northwest, the big red poles. That's another thing. And that's
the one in Bloomfield.
That's a house. I can't.
Oh, okay.
It's private
no, you can't do that one.
Yeah. And then random people driving by there.
No, didn't you say the city gave you a $100,000 budget?
No, this is the new subdivision association.
Oh, so I got you.
That project was over $100,000. It was a beautiful job. And of course, you're going against other people, and it's nice to know that you were awarded that. I really wanted it. I thought this is a staple project for the company that I can say I do the butterfly garden, just like I can say I did Providence Hospital, Nova, and I still have that contract today. And we do Children's Hospital. We've been doing it multiple years. So I really enjoy. I think that it's something different every day. People that love their jobs, they love them for a reason. But for me, I love what I love about just something different every day. My day is never the same every day. And I love chasing down deals, and I love doing charitable events, charitable causes. I love the networking thing. People know that I'm a networker. I love that. So I have that concept of, also connecting other people. Love doing that too. It's like the full circle, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you look back at the business, like all these years, what do you think? Like what hits you about it?
I think there were times I was definitely very stressed out, like people go through in their life growing the business. You don't have the right employees, you don't have the right people, the right clients. There's a saying I came up with, or someone told me this. It's another mentor of mine, like, pick the best and leave the rest. It's okay to fire a client at the end of the year because that client stressed you out. And that actually happened last year. This client was probably giving me $150,000 a year in business, but it was like so much stressed out myself. It stressed out my client, my managers. It stressed everybody out in the company, employees that work with this guy on these projects. It was just like not a fun experience. Like, well, I don't want to do this. This is not fun. Why are we arguing on the phone all the time about stupid stuff? We don't want to argue. I like to have a peaceful conversation and just move through the project. But he made it more difficult because he was not organized. He was cluster, so it's like nothing was matching up. And at that end of the year, I ended up firing him and said, we're done. And then he even tried to bring me back again the next year. And I'm like, I was considering it. I'm like, no. He's like, oh, I'll give you all this work. We're not going to, I won't give you a hard time. Like, you're saying that now, like, you gave me a hard time. So yeah, pick the best and leave the rest. It's so important to pick your clientele because they really are running your life. It's important to make it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that answered the question.
No, it did.
Okay.
It did.
Okay.
So if you were to take a project, a lesson, a tool, a personal item, let's say you were going to bury this thing and somebody was going to find it, and like what would that be that would kind of let them know about your legacy and what you would want them to know?
If it was like buried in the ground?
Yeah, buried in the ground, like a time capsule.
Okay.
Like somebody found it 50 years from now.
It'd be probably some of my stupid novelty stuff that I give away. Like I was giving out shoe signs with artistic logo on it. I was giving out koozies at like trade shows with like, artistic logo on it. I put artistic on everything. I have artistic, of course, logo shirts that we put our name on. So we're everywhere. The trucks are artistic everywhere. I've recently come up with a new thing. It's a pack of gum. So I go to people's offices and I give a pack of gum. Here's an artistic pack of gum. And then it sits on their desk and they have a couple of pieces of gum and it sits there forever. And the logo is literally right there. So so if I put a time capsule underground, it'd be a pack of gum with artistic on it. It'd be a shoe shine with artistic on it. It'd be a koozie with artistic on it. I even came up with shot glasses with beads on it that hang over your, for like our Tigers opening day party. It's a beads with a shot glass right here that it holds right in front of you. So if you want to take a shot, it's right there and it's got artistic on it. So I'm like putting artistic on everything. Even when I had a Hummer back in the day, I put artistic on my Hummer.
Man, I feel like that's a plug for me. Thank you.
Yes, it's a plug for you. I put the logo on everything, right?
That's awesome.
Don't you want to? Yeah, doesn't everybody want to? But I went as far as a shot glass and a pack of gum. That's kind of silly, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's going to go in the capsule. They're going to know it's me. Well, of course, the name's on there.
Cool. And I would say this is more like kind of a fun question, but when your clients see your project, like, what do you want them to think about you?
I want them to think that it was an easy process because I think I do make the process easy. I'm very, communicative. I'm really good at communication. People say I've talked with, top-notch businesses in town, CEO of big companies, and they say, you're such an involved owner, Tony. As an owner of a company, I could easily put that responsibility on other people in my company, account managers and other things, but I'm such an involved owner. I'm copied on every email. I'm CC'd on all the emails coming to and forth with communication with other managers of my company. But I'm such an involved owner. I want them to understand that the process is going to be easy working with me. I'm not argumentative. I'm easygoing. I'm only here to help things go better. And I bring more to the table than any other person I feel in this industry because I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there. And that's why I'm not the largest company in town. Of course, there's companies that are 10 times the size of me, but I'm not trying to be that guy. I just want to be the best. I don't want to be the biggest. I want to be the best. And I want to, my clients all know that I'm involved with their process and making sure things go well for them because it's their investment. And their piece of real estate or their shopping center or their restaurant that they do, it's got to look good. And there's been times I've had team members fail. Like we installed some flowers one time, they all died. Or we installed a new row of shrubs. I remember we installed a shopping center. It was a little bit too late in the season. I think we installed it like December 10th. But we were trying to get the project done. And I always say I have a new philosophy now, like let's don't install trees and shrubs after Halloween because it's just too late. Come springtime, all the trees and shrubs died. So it was like 100 shrubs and 25 trees. By springtime, everything died. I'm like, oh no. So I had to go there and replace everything. So not only was it costly, it was embarrassing. And they said, do you think you can get this project done this year? I'm like, oh yeah, we'll do it December 10th. Why not? And it was just a bad call Because if the plants and the roots can get rooted to the system, to the ground, they're just going to freeze and die. So we don't want that. We want healthy plants. We want healthy trees. So that's a learning experience right there.
Yeah.
I learned over time that you cannot do that. And I'm still learning. I'm sure as time goes on, everyone's still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something I should have asked you about that I didn't ask you about?
Oh. As far as myself personally or the business?
The business and kind of what you might want to share for people who are listening, something you want them to know about you or your business.
I would say I love getting involved with charitable events. I'm very much involved with the community. I don't know if we discussed it before, but I've served on the Chaldean Chamber Board of Directors. I've served on that chamber board. Some of my involvements in the community, which is important to me. For me, it's not always about the business. I'm not going to work on the business 7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
So my involvement in the community has been great. I served on the Landscape Association for the state of Michigan. It was called landscape.org is the website. So it's called the Michigan Green Industry Association. MGIA stands for Michigan Green Industry Association. And I was on their board for 5 years. And they voted me member of the year, which is great because that's voted by your members. So there's probably 3,000 landscape contractors here locally in Michigan. They're like, Tony's great. He gives back. So let's vote him member of the year. It's voted by the members, just like other things. And then I served on the Southfield Chamber of Commerce, which I really wanted to get involved with the city of Southfield, which that's where I just did the butterfly garden because Lawrence Tech University's on the board, Beaumont Hospital's on the board. And I do work for all these people. I think someone else on the board too. I can't remember, but so I like being involved with that Chamber of Commerce. I think yes, I did. Then I did Chaldean Chamber, and then I did Detroit Regional Chamber because I do a lot of work in Detroit. So I thought, let me get involved with that community, and that was great too. A lot of powerful figures involved with that. Presence of Henry Ford Hospital and ownership of Detroit Pistons, Imagine Theater. These are all owners of companies that are sitting on this board trying to make the community better, which I love that. I'm always trying to give back to the community. So that's another thing I've gone through with my career of business. Also charitable golf outings I get involved with. I'm involved with one that helps Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We call that Hot Pink Helpers. So I do that. You'll see that on all my socials that we're getting involved with that. We raise money for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I've done Adopt a Refugee for the Chaldean community. I've done a Chaldean Ladies of Charity golf outing. Kids with Cancer, which is Angels of Hope. I've done that one. So just different array of different charitable causes. I love giving back. I'm gonna take my energy and my time and help raise money. So I love doing that.
And maybe you don't have one, but do you have like a favorite of one that you were involved in, like maybe more deeply than just the financial contribution or fundraising, and a favorite like result or outcome out of any of these? I
think it changes over time. I think back in the day, I was very involved with Adopt a Refugee because that were a big thing coming, our Chaldean people coming to the community and just trying to help them out. And then over time, it changes over to, Kids with Cancer. I was very involved with that organization for a while, and it's a deep meaning, helping them raise money for that. Then most recently, it's the Hot Pink Helpers, which is, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I love that we can raise $25,000 at a golf outing, $30,000. And what they do is they take checks, literally checks to family members if someone was affected by cancer. And let's say they have to quit their job because they're going through chemo radiation. They'll give them a check for $5,000 or $10,000, help them pay their mortgage, help them buy groceries for the family because that person can't work right now. They're going through the chemo radiation. There's a time period they need to beat that cancer. So they're going to be off work a little bit. So we're going to help them out. And there's been multiple families we've helped. That's kind of cool. That's my current passion right now. And there's other things I do too, but it's been very, meaningful.
That's cool.
I like that.
How can people find you?
On socials, I think Tony Konja, Artistic Outdoor Services on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and give me a call. My office number is 855-248-855-8575. Find me through Making the Mark with Joe Toma.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming on. This was fun.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, Mark. All right, see you, Tony.
Appreciate it. Cool. We have anything different?
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks, Tony, for sharing your journey, from pushing a wheelbarrow to running a 25-truck operation. What stood out to me was his relentless drive to chase opportunity and willingness to walk away from business that doesn't align with his values. That kind of leadership goes beyond the mark. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, subscribe. If you really liked it, leave a review. It helps people discover the show. Connect with Tony by searching Artistic Outdoor Services on LinkedIn and Instagram. Be sure to check out that butterfly garden in Southview. Thanks for listening. And as always, go out there and make your brand remarkable.